They had a little packet of evidence, and mind you, all my evidence was submitted into the docket. Their evidence came to court on the day of the hearings, and as the attorney is questioning me about all this stuff, they would show a picture of Sadia in a dress and say, I sent her to school in the middle of December or November in a dress. And on the next page, it shows that she had when I respond to the text message, that she had a jacket on, a jacket that reached all the way down to her ankles. But they're making it seem like I sent her to school in just a dress in the middle of December or November. It was one of the cold months. And they would just jump right to another topic. Like, her attorney is very clever, or seems to be clever. I'm sure if she's going up against an attorney, she would look like a fool because she's really not that smart. But I just don't know a lot of these tactics, so I didn't realize what she was doing until after she had already done it. In some of the cases, and in other cases, I knew exactly what she was trying to do. Other thing, the last thing you just said was he doesn't work. First of all, she's saying I bring Sadia to work with me, but then when it's convenient, she'll say, "Oh, he doesn't work," to make me look like I don't even have a way to support Sadia. So I asked her the question on page 159. I said, the last thing you just said was he doesn't work. You said I don't work. She says, yeah, that's what I said. I said, you don't have like a stable job, that you don't work at the job that you like have to pay taxes for. So I said, but you are aware that I have a business, that I pay taxes in my business. She says, I'm aware that you do the dumping of the trash. And I say, right. And she says, junk removal, and that you donate blood. And I said, so how do I support myself in Sadia if I don't work? She says, you donate blood and you do odd ends jobs like lawn mowing. Question, you're not familiar with my business that is registered with the state that I do pay taxes on? No, David, I'm not. Question, for the last 10 years? No, she doesn't remember I work, but now she says this. I just remember you driving around in your truck, dumping trash, donating blood, or your lawn mowing or shoveling snow. That's all I remember. So now I question, I said, so you don't know I have 2 trucks, right? I have 3 trailers, a $10,000 17-foot dump trailer. Attorney cuts me off. She says, Your Honor, she just testified she's not aware of his trailers. And I say, I have a $5,000 lawnmower. You don't consider that me working and having a business? The court. So that you can bring out on your testimony. So you just can only ask things that she knows the answers to. So you're familiar with all my equipment that I have acquired over the last 8 years that I've been in business? She says no. Okay, so in this part right here, she says, I say page 27, the first entry, you guys mentioned that part, but the second entry, which was she was dressed appropriate, she doesn't have to wear long sleeves. Okay, so this is what I was writing in the second entry. So what they did was they showed a picture of her in her dress, and showed in their evidence packet, which they gave to me on the day of. And I didn't even bother to say, hey, I need time to go through this. I just kind of went with the flow. And as I'm trying to keep up with each page that they're on, they're going through these incidences and then hurry up and jump into another topic and saying that now turn to this page. So the one incident was, they said that I sent Sadia to school with no jacket on in the middle of December. That's like child abuse. Like, I'm pretty sure the school would have had to report that if I actually did that. So they didn't allow it to go. They didn't allow me to actually read all the text messages. And I wrote it down, as they were doing this. I was writing all this stuff down, and I was able to later go back to it. And what I found was, they would say things like the attorney would say things like he sent her to school with just a dress on in November. And on the next page, when you see like some of the stuff, they wouldn't have the full context, but then some of the stuff you'll see like a little bit of more context. And then when I go in my phone and I look through old text messages, I could see the full context. And I'm like, wow, this is like, attorney is really sifting through all of this stuff and trying to create like false narratives. So what I did was I found out in this particular case that when I messaged her back, I was saying like she has a jacket on, like she literally has a jacket that goes down to her ankles. So she wore a dress. If it was cold, I would always make sure I have stockings on her. So if it was a day where it wasn't that cold, then she might not have stockings. But I have all of that stuff for Sadia. So now, page 161. I was saying, page 27, the first entry, you guys mentioned that part, but then the second entry, which was she was dressed appropriate, she doesn't have to wear long sleeves. This is me writing to her mom. She doesn't have to wear long sleeves if she's going to be indoors all day. So I would just like the record to reflect that she didn't go to school with just a dress in the middle of November. She went with the jacket. So the jacket covered down to her ankles.